show It Takes a Village, a show about raising a family in today's world, and we are the Conscious Family team.
Welcome, ladies. Oh, today we have a very exciting topic to talk about. You know, that time when a couple decides that they're ready to have a baby. Oh, you know, a lot of planning, we believe, needs to go into that decision. So, Meredith, could you talk to us a little bit about your experience and what that mom and dad, what they need to think about before trying to have that very treasured baby?
When a baby is going to be conceived, it would be ideal if the mother and father could have take some measures to make their bodies as healthy as possible before they even think about conceiving. So that might be going to see a naturopath and being tested to see how healthy their bodies already are. It might just be changing their diets, getting rid of some of those chemicals, stop smoking obviously, stop drinking as much alcohol if they are drinking alcohol, and really just looking at a more wholesome diet, more natural foods. Might just be that simple.
Okay. And Tara, perhaps you could speak a little bit about why a couple would come to see a naturopathic doctor, since you are a doctor, as well as seeing their GP. What kinds of things could you help the couple with?
Well, there's a few subtle differences, or some not so subtle differences, between a GP and a naturopathic doctor. Often when you're first thinking about having a baby, most people primarily think that the woman just needs to stop taking the pill, wait a month or so, and then start trying. And unfortunately, this is really a very common thought. As a naturopath, we really believe that you really need to take the time to get yourself, as Meredith had said, in a healthier state of mind and body. And one of the things that we often recommend is if a woman has had any kind of chemical birth control in her body, is that there's often a good time for some detoxification work. And to spend about 6 months or so just to get kind of cleaned out and prepared. It often helps to regulate the cycles. It makes actually trying a little bit easier because sometimes when a woman first stops taking the birth control pill, her periods can be quite irregular. It doesn't just come right back on. And that also helps that couple kind of get in that best state, gives them a little bit more time.
And what kinds of things could the mom and the dad, because we can't forget about the dad, right ladies? Dad's
Absolutely.
really important. So what kinds of things, Tara, could that couple do when I hear you say sort of getting cleaned out? What kinds of things could they do to really prepare the body physically?
Well, one of the things with respect to dad is, again, that nutritional involvement is making sure that he's got all optimum levels for good sperm production. Sperm, did we just say that?
Ooh, sperm.
But it's really important because, again, it's absolutely essential. I've seen a number of couples that have struggled from an infertility aspect, and it's actually been the man's half, and it hasn't been recognized, who's had suboptimal quality of sperm. So basically having enough of the right nutrients, things like arginine, doing things like vitamin C, vitamin E, can really make a big difference. So making sure that he's got those ones, as well as removing any of these kind of what we consider hormone disruptors, these chemicals that can be latent in the body, so that they're not interfering with production on the man's behalf.
And it's true also that even gluten can cause infertility. So if somebody is reacting or allergic to gluten, then they could take that out of their diet and really improve the health of the sperm as well as the eggs.
Now gluten, that's a bit of a hot topic these days. Where would we find gluten, Meredith?
Well, gluten is in wheat, it's in baked goods, it's in basically carbs that are not fruit or vegetables.
Right.
So you're hearing a lot about it now and you're saying, oh, what is it with these people? But we are starting to realize that gluten, because it causes inflammation, it can weaken the immune system, it is causing a lot of issues for people. And the way you know it's a problem is when you have a bowl of pasta and afterwards you feel full, you feel bloated, you might feel tired, and that is a sign right there that the gluten is hard to digest.
I see. And how easy is it for people to find gluten-free products?
It's becoming easier and easier all the time. I used to have to go to 3 different health food stores to feed my daughter, and now I can just go to one place and get everything I need. There's so many products out.
Wonderful. So people are starting to recognize the merits of a gluten-free diet and making it a lot easier for us to find those products. So mom and dad are in good shape. They're eating well, they've cleaned themselves, they've got the chemicals out of their body. We all realize now, though, that there's another component, and that's the spiritual component of conception. And so, Nicole, would you like to speak a little bit to what mom and dad need to do or should be thinking about in that realm?
Right. First and foremost, they should be on the same page. Start that conversation about parenting. Start that conversation about how they're going to birth and how they're going to raise this child together. It's amazing when they start talking, they might find that they have different ideas about schooling or different ideas about how they're going to feed their child. And that little issue can totally inhibit the whole fertility process. So I think that's the first one that they would look into. And do an emotional check on themselves. Where are they at? How do they feel about parenting? Are there any fears that they're feeling? Any apprehensions? Thinking about their own childhood?
That's a good one, their own childhood.
Healing themselves first, right?
Absolutely.
I think that we're really starting to recognize that as parents, it behooves us to heal ourselves first so that we're not passing on our traumas onto our children.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think to add to that list of topics that mom and dad might want to talk about is also, how do you plan to discipline your child?
Right.
What's important to you? What kinds of values do you hope to hold in your home? And what sorts of values are you hoping as a couple to instill in your child? And also, if I could add to that, I believe that a wonderful component to add to that couples regime who are trying to conceive is a meditation practice. To really calm that couple and center them. And you know, when we take on a meditation practice, we can so easily connect to Source and we can connect to all that is. And perhaps through our meditation, we can bring up some of those issues that you alluded to, Nicole, that perhaps need to be addressed. And perhaps in those meditation sessions, we can face some of those fears.
But there are a lot of men that just hear meditation and put their hands up and
That's
say, no,
true.
I'm not going there.
That's true.
But some of them don't realize that even just the two of you being together, maybe in a hot tub or something, just closing your eyes and listening to your own breath for 5 minutes is all you need to do. And then a whole discussion can take place that might not have taken place prior to doing that.
Yes.
Or there's always just even just the mindfulness, like being mindful, right? So if you're out as a couple walking, it's like you have the opportunities to just be with each other, and you're not so much concerned about what's been going on in the future and what's going to happen, you know, tomorrow, and what you need to do and what you need to work on, but just to be present in that moment.
I love that.
And sometimes when you're present in that moment, then discussions arise, right? It's like, and the dreams come, right? It's like these things and these wishes and these connections. And I think
what a great start. What a great start for yourselves as a couple, for your baby that you're about to conceive. And I don't think we do that enough for ourselves. And, you know, I question if that's sometimes a large barrier. And I wouldn't second guess that it is a large barrier to families that are really struggling with conception. They haven't done that work first.
Yes.